All right, friends of the Evening CryptoCast. Welcome to another episode of the Evening CryptoCast with your boy, the Real Shot 256, recording live from the Real Shot 256 studios, my spare bedroom. And tonight, just want to go over some of the news from earlier this week. I do want to apologize for those who follow this channel very closely. I have not had the time to actually record any updates prior to today. So definitely happy to be back and definitely happy to find some time to actually put together this little update for you guys. And we definitely want to talk about some of the news that happened earlier this week. But we'll get started with the usual TA side of things. If you do not care about the TA side of things, definitely go ahead and actually fast forward through the video and onto the news part of the video. But we are going to get started with the typical analysis of the overall crypto market, looking at 269 billion, 270. Let's just round up. $270 billion for total market cap. 24-hour trading volume is down to 50,887. As I've said in this channel before, I do pay close attention to this guy right here in the middle. Take that divided by 269. And if we get to close to about, say, the 10 to 15% of that, then I start to get a little weary of that. So let's take a look. Actually, I do have a little calculator tool here that we're going to bring up. And what I usually do is, whoa, that's larger than life, ain't it? So what I usually do is I will take 50,000 and I will divide that by 269. So it's currently about 18%. Again, once we get to about 15 to 10, between 10 and 15%, that's when I start to worry. That's when we do see sort of a squeeze in trading volume and then a big move after that. But if we do get into the 15 to 10% range, then I am looking for an overall, continuation of a downtrend. Usually that's how these moves play out. Again, that's not really something that you can pick out on the charts. It's just something that I have paid close attention to in the past, and it has always worked for me. So just something that I'm really definitely paying attention to. So let's get on to the charts. Currently trading. Actually, let's go to this chart here. Currently trading at 96.89. I am looking for a bounce at this area around 96.89, 9700. I am looking for a bounce here. It does look like Bitcoin is holding pretty good in this area. And if we look at a 4-hour, we can actually see that the 377 is coming in right around there, right at it actually. I mean, currently it's a little bit below, but it doesn't look like it's breaking it to the downside. Although again, we are trading a little bit below it. Doesn't look like it wants to break down yet. It is holding up pretty good. We'll have to watch the closing of this actual 4-hour candle here, and if we do end up above it, then I do again am going to look for I am going to look for a bounce at this area, and to put my money in my where my mouth is. I actually did enter a small trade, about 5%, 25% of my cash position right at this area. I am looking for a bounce, and I do think we're going to at least retest the 21 here at 99, and also retest this local high here around 10,100, and then we'll reassess from there. But I am looking again somewhere around there. I will probably de-risk right around the 21 at first hand, for about 3%, and then about 4.25% total. After the move, that's kind of where I'm looking at for a small scalp. If you guys are paying attention, hopefully soon after this video is released, then you guys can think about maybe doing the same thing. If you trade on Binance as 96.95, that's the current price. If we go to our trusty Bitstamp chart, it's currently trading at 9,700. That's again, that's at 97, 97.50, even 9800 will still be a good entry in my opinion. And again, we're going to retest at least at 21, and then ultimately about 10,100. And then from there, if we go south on this, then do look. I am looking for about 2 to 3% exit point below it. Not setting a stop loss. I do have some time to actually watch it for the next few hours. I mean, I'm not going to be glued to my computer. What I'm going to do is just set a reminder, and also set an alert for price. And then if it does hit my exit point, then I will go ahead and execute a sale of my position there. So, now financial advice. This is just sharing again what I'm doing. That's on the near or short term of things. In the more macro, in the more macro view of things, I do think again, after this bounce, we'll have to reassess once we get over, if we do get over the 21 EMA, and if we go back and retest the 10,100, we could pop out there and then come back and retest this prior low again. But I do think we're going to get out of this trending, micro trending pattern here. And if we look, actually, we already did sort of a move out of this descending channel here. And again, in the more more in the more shorter term of things is what I'm trying to say. So for the time being, this should now act as resistance, and we should again retest these arrows. But for those of you who watched my previous video, this is again textbook trading 101 sort of posture here, where we do see the price action being held by this resistance line, and then once it breaks out, you can definitely have a bit of a scalp here. About 2.68% move there, not too shabby. If you did catch it from here, you probably pick up an extra 2% from here all the way to the top of that move. But if we do see that we tested it once, two, three, and we passed it on about the fourth or fifth time. So look out for these patterns when they do build. Usually it's going to either break out or break down, right? In this case, it is breaking up. We'll go ahead and retest this again, and it will probably because in the shorter term of things, again, this is the more of the macro. This entire formation here, we have our resistance line. We have our support line, which is building sort of a bull flag in the macro things. Now, again, we could come back and retest this bottom of this channel here at around 8,700. We could wick down to easily to 8,500. I mean, that's not out of the picture, and we can finally just complete the move to 8,500 and call it a day and move forward. And again, as I've been telling you guys in this channel in the previous videos, I would be looking for that to happen now as opposed to actually happening in the future. I do think it's way more beneficial if we do go ahead and fill the gap now, as opposed to going to 14, 15, 16,000 in the near future and then having to come back all the way down at some point and retest the $8,500 limit. I think we are in a very opportune period of time here before Bitcoin takes off, and it just would be something that ideally, it's that would be something that would just again check the mark off, check the box, if you will, and then we can move on to bigger and better things, right? Currently the 4-hour RSI is looking like it's going into wanting to tap into the neutral zone here at the RSI, the 4-hour RSI, sorry. But again, I am looking for a bounce. I am looking for this area to hold, so we could potentially have a turn of events here with the RSI and actually flip to the upside and get into the more bullish territory again and finish out the move at around 10,100. We could get an extension to about 10.2, 10.3, for an extended move, but unless we get above the 200 EMA here, I am not feeling too hot about this move yet. Again, I do think we're going to tap out at 10-100. 10-2, 10-3 would be an extended move. All right, I would definitely, if you haven't scaled out at that point, I would definitely do that. Unless again we do catch plenty of fire and we do see Bitcoin moving above the 200. Again, we're gonna have to see a flip over and have this blue exponential here above the red and get into the bullish zone on the 4-hour here. Definitely want to close some 4-hour candles above the 21, which would be coming right in at 99.50 ish or so. Looking at the day, we just got a daily close about 2 hours ago. Actually 2 hours and 45 minutes ago, roughly. Got a close of the daily. Let's take a look and see what it's telling us. Again, holding that prior area of support. Not really wanting to test this low. Looking a little droopy, but I'm not too worried. Like I said, on the 4-hour, it's providing plenty of support right at current levels. So again, not freaking out about that yet. But it does look again like we do get a small bounce here to about well right here, right where the 30 simple, right, and it lines up pretty good. 21 on the 4-hour, 30 simple on the daily chart. And again, if we do, I am looking for a rejection of the 30 there, and then coming back down. We'll probably come back and retest the 200 on the daily, right? We were looking at the 200 on the 4-hour. That's coming in at around, I want to say 10,300 area. 10,000, yeah, about 10,385 or so. That is the 200 on the 4-hour. The 200 on the on the daily is coming in as support here. I am looking for a retest of that, an eventual retest of the 200. If we do break the 200, then we're definitely in for the 8,500, right? I mean, it's not too far below that. And again, it would just be way more beneficial if we just take care of that business now as opposed to later. I already explained why we are currently, the RSI is showing that it wants to maintain the neutral zone, and therefore it would be a little bit easier to overtake the red exponential here, the red oscillator here on the RSI. It is again technically still in the neutral zone, and it does look like it wants to tick over the red line there. And if we do, again, we start to get a little bit more bullish. And again, if we do that, we'll have to reassess right around between 10-100 and 10-300. We'll have to reassess and kind of take a look at the short term overall picture, and then look at the macro picture again and reassess from there. Again, this game is all about reassessing at every stop, whether it's the short or the longer time frames. We always stop, look back, look forward, look where we're standing, and kind of plan out our next move. Right, that's kind of how we do it here at this channel, and it's kind of what's been working for us. So we'll stick to the plan. Don't fix what's not broken. All right, so. So take a look at the shorter time frames here. Yeah, it's definitely the only thing that we've got right now holding us is this prior low here on the 1-hour. Now we're definitely trading below every moving average. So on the 1-hour, again, I am looking for a 1, 2, 3, a third bounce off of this area. But again, because I do think we're going to get rejected off of the prior local high right around here at 10-100, we probably are going to retest this bottom here at 96, 9700, and eventually work our way down. I do think because again, looking in the macro picture, I do want to see it test it once, test it twice, test it 3 times, and then we can take off. And as we have actually looked at what the expected move would be, I think we've said this in prior videos. One sec. Yeah, there we go. So taking us to about 15.3, somewhere around there. But again, this move isn't going to happen overnight, right? This is going to take some time. Bitcoin definitely has a lot of work to do if we come back and retest this bottom line here, this bottom support area here at around say 87, between 86 and $8,700. And again, if we do wick down, we can cover that the gap, and then from there take off. But again, it's going to have a lot of work to do. Bitcoin's going to have to work through a lot of resistance on the way up, so it's going to have plenty of buying power, which we're going to find down here for sure. We are definitely going to find a lot of buying support right at this the bottom of this green support line. You bet that that's going to happen, and so we're definitely going to build a lot of momentum. And as we do build that momentum and Bitcoin does climb in price pretty quickly, that's when all the FOMOers come in here and start pumping the price even higher, right? Talking about the more inexperienced retail traders. Um, again, once we bounce off this area, we could potentially catch plenty of fire and just reach for the 10.3, 10 or 15.3, 15.4 area, which would be absolutely great, right? This would put us again in a continuation pattern, a bullish continuation pattern, right? That's what we're looking for, right? So let's take a look at some alts now. And again, if you have any questions about what I just covered, definitely leave it down in the comments. Let me know what I missed or what you'd like me to cover, and we'll be happy to do that. All right, so let's actually take a look at XRP. XRP dumping another $250 million this month. It's been all over. I mean, if you even follow crypto Twitter or pretty much any media outlet, Instagram. I mean, it's all over social media that XRP went through its routine sell or routine dump of XRP. This time again, another $250 million dumped on XRP holders. Kind of hate to see that. And I did see a stat that said it equates to about a 22% inflation rate with XRP. So, it is actually one of two coins in the top 10 that has actually posted negative numbers instead of gains. It's actually losing. It's creating a loss on your portfolio. So, if you're holding mostly alts, this is one of actually this is the second worst performing top crypto asset in the crypto sphere right now, at negative about 22% or so. So, as I've told you guys in previous videos, there's a thing called opportunity cost, and you have to weigh that in. If you're in if you're in a current or a token, a currency, or whatever you want to call it, a crypto asset that is trading on the negative, there's other assets out there that you could be trading in and just making actually profits on that. Unfortunately, and again, I'm not an XRP hater. I don't take I'm not taking any sides. The XRP army haters or the XRP army itself. I am pretty agnostic when it comes to that, because what I'm doing is actually I'm just trading, and I'm doing a lot of times I'm doing short term trades. Now, looking at the macro picture, this has been a huge area of support. But as I've said in these videos, every time we do test these prior areas of support, they do become weaker, right? So at some point we're going to break this, and if we do break it, man, we're in for a pretty nice drop, right? We should find a little bit of support here at around, let's call it right here at around 25 cents. That'll be initial area of support. If again we're looking for XRP to break down below this area here, this previous area of support, which has been just amazing at holding XRP from abysmal price abysmal price action. So again, this will be our next stop if this area breaks down, which it does look like it wants to do. Just not seeing the type of momentum in the XRP side of things. They're Mr. Schwartz, the CTO, did come out not that long ago and say that they're having a rough time with adoption and newer uh, partnerships for XRP. So ever since they announced that they were partnering with MoneyGram, nothing significant has been said or has come out um, to give XRP a little bit of life. So this is something that I am not really too hot about. Again, I do think it could bounce off of this area currently. We're trading at 30 cents, 30 cents, 30.98. Um, so if I do think we could see a bounce here, especially if Bitcoin again has another try at 31 to 10,100, 10,300, possibly. I do think we could come back and retest a 55 here, but guys, it's not a whole lot. I mean, it's only 2 cents worth of price action. Let's put a measurement on there from here to the 55. About 3%, right? About 3%. I do think that is a likely move. That would be my next target. Again, I am expecting a bounce here with Bitcoin as well. So this should translate to the altcoins as well. XRP shouldn't be the difference, should not be the exception here. Retest to 55 at 32 cents. And then from there, guys, I would, if you buy in here, which is not a bad point, again, not a bad entry, I would drop it at the 55 here on the 4-hour. Or at least at the very least start de-risking my position if you do decide to do that. De-risk a little bit, and then maybe we reject off the simple 200 here, this gray line here. We might have a nice wick up to that area, but then I don't expect any 4-hour closes on top of the 200 and actually come back and retest this prior low. And again, once we come back and retest this prior low again where we're currently at, we'll reassess from there. Because again, Bitcoin has to make that move. It just has to do it. It has to finish what it started. And I'm not calling for it to happen now or anytime like soon. I'm not saying that it has to happen now, but I'm just saying like this would be probably the textbook most opportune, most ideal time to actually go out and do that. And if that actually happens, then that we're going to come back and retest the 29 cents for sure, which is coming right below, and then the 25 cents right after that. All right, so and then from there we'll reassess, right? If we do get to 25 cents, we'll stop and reassess from there. But it's not going to look good. It's not going to look good at all, guys. 25 cents is not. It's not an area where XRP wants to be. At all, because again, if we break down from that area and Bitcoin does decide to come back down and maybe retest low 8,000s range, then it's going to look really, really gloomy for XRP. All right, guys. Wish I had better news for you guys on that end, but it is what it is. Looking at BNB, again, doing what Bitcoin is doing so far. XRP and BNB holding up in this area. It's not a bad entry point for to go in here. Kind of looking like the micro trend, kind of looking like the S&P right now, sort of from this point. Let's just highlight it real quick. There we go. Yeah, this right here, kind of looking like the S&P. Whatever. All right, so retesting this bottom again here, this pivot point at 28 cents. Again, it's probably going to do what Bitcoin does. If it does, all it needs is just a small short bounce here. It could retest the 21 and the 55 here, but I don't see it getting. I don't see a big run to test the what's this? Our 200 here. Our 200 EMA. I don't see a big move like that unless something else happens with BNB coin. All right, so kind of the same thing on that. Not much else to say though. Let's look at the daily real quick. See if we can get a more broad picture on what's going on. Daily is down again. Not much happening in the past daily candle, and so far looking like looking a little droopy. But again, I do think momentarily Bitcoin might save it from actually retesting this low, because again, we don't want to go past this wick here. If we do go past 27.75, then we're going to come back and retest this prior low at 26.87, and then ultimately $25 could be in the picture as well. Again, if we break this prior pivot here at 27.75, and then we're looking at 26.85, and then about $25, below $25 range. Okay, so we don't want to see a breakdown from there. Otherwise, again, look for lower lows, and this would be a good point to enter here. $25 would be a great point. Yeah, you bet. If I see BNB, I will have to make a video, an update, and let you guys know if I did enter into BNB coin. The way things are looking, I do think, again, on the shorter term of things, a bounce here, but then retest, a possible retest of this prior low here at $25 is definitely in the cards. All right, let's look at Link. Link looking pretty good. This Link has been in this sort of ascending triangle formation here for quite a bit, and I do think a breakout is definitely in the cards. I do think a breakout is looming for Chainlink. We are actually almost 100% full here on this ascending triangle. So let's actually do a little better job there. Yep. So yeah, definitely. I do think we're a big pressure move is coming. Definitely. And if we do see that, if it does break, if Chainlink does break out, we could see it retest of prior highs at 45.50, right? And that could be a double top. And if that actually happens, if we do have a double top, that always has a negative, pretty much a negative ending. I do think we're going to come back and retest again this area at 23 cents. Or $2.34. So, and again, these moves take a while, right? So, but let's pay close attention. Let's just leave it out there. Pay close attention to the Link, because it is at the end of this formation, and we should see. In my scope of things, I do think it's more likely that it breaks out as opposed to breaking down below this this formation here. I could be wrong. It could be completely wrong. So don't take this as financial advice. Just just sharing what I'm overall thinking based on the technicals on the chart. Right. Out of all the coins, even including Bitcoin, this looks the strongest. That's where I'm gathering. That's where I am coming from when I say that it is more likely that it breaks out as opposed to break down off of this formation. Let's look at the 1 hour, see where we're at. It's pretty flat. Not a whole lot happening. Not a whole lot of action happening. There's definitely other places where you can benefit from or actually go into the trades where margins will be larger and you can actually make a little bit more money. Bitcoin could definitely be one of those. Yeah, so I mean, pretty much the same. The hourly though is looking a little weaker than the 4 hour. The 4 hour is actually looking pretty good in the daily as well. But again, these are the shorter time frames, so I don't like to focus on those. Let's actually, wow. Oh, I went too far. I went to the monthly. Sorry about that. So I wanted to go back to the daily, and let's just zoom in a bit. Yeah, so that's what we got. RSI on the daily is being held in the more neutral zone, so not too worried about that. That's why I'm saying if another indicator that tells me that a breakout from this area is not impossible. It's definitely again in the neutral zone in the RSI. So again, I don't think it's going to have a lot of resistance like Bitcoin would if Bitcoin wants to actually break out. I do see less in Link's way to actually accomplish a big move, a breakout move outside of this triangle, right? Let's go look at the 4-hour RSI. It's actually ticking down, but again, it is holding again, along with Bitcoin, it is holding this area here. We could see the test come and retest the bottom of this triangle here. Although if it did, that would be a lower low, which could also indicate that we could see a move, a breakdown move, as opposed to a breakout. If we do see Link setting a lower low and testing the bottom of this support trend line here, as opposed to maybe bouncing off of this, let's call it $2.28. We're very, very darn close to that. We could retest at $2.28 and then bounce from there and break out. All right, so I'll leave it at that with Chainlink. Let's look at Litecoin. Litecoin actually had pretty noticeable bounces in the last couple of days. Like we do see this move here, or about 10%. Not bad. It is looking like it wants to, on the micro side of things, it is looking like it wants to do a bull flag and actually make another. And let's measure this out on the mic. Again, this is micro, so a lot of times this will not play out because again, this is such short time frames that hardly ever plays out. But if it does, we could come back and look at it's lining up with this prior pivot point here at around 99 cents or $99. Sorry, maybe $100, right? So. But again, these moves, because this is such a micro or minute time frame, this cannot. I don't put a lot of weight on it. Let's just leave it at that. And but we could see a move up to the $99. All right. Again, lining up with this prior pivot point there. All right. So and then the other area to look for on the more bearish side is this prior pivot point here. At around $88.18. If we do break that area, we're going to come back and retest 75 cents, or I'm sorry, 75 to $78. Let's just paint a line of ultimate support down here. We're likely to retest this area here. Let's just call it $77 there. Again, if we break this area first, we'd have to break the $88 to the downside, break down from there, and then come back and retest the $77 to $75 range. Okay, but overall, not looking too bad. Micro is looking like a potential bullish pattern, retesting this bottom support here at 90 cents. We're about $1.45 away from that currently, and then come back and retest the resistance here and potentially break out. All right. Let's look at the daily on Litecoin real quick. Let's see. Yeah, daily. I am going to get rid of these little trend lines. There we go. All right, so daily is being supported here by the 200 EMA, this blue line here, which is not bad, between the 200 and the 30 simple here. We also have the 377 coming in here, but not looking too bad. I mean, the 200, let's look at the 200 real quick and see what it's been doing for us with Litecoin. So ever since we regained it here back in May 5th, it's been acting as plenty of support, and so has the 55. Actually, the 55 actually plays a better role, I believe, in my opinion. 55, but now that we've lost it, I mean, it's gone on a major correction. and it's just struggling to get back above the 55 right now. So let's look at the 55 for a major indicator. I'm basically looking for a point to start to get bullish again on Litecoin, and it looks like we have to go back to, gosh, February, and we're looking at the daily. So ever since February, the green 55 has definitely served as support, bouncing off of it quite nicely a couple times, few times, and then just getting separation from it, getting a lot of momentum, getting really, really hot, and then we lost it here July 10th. And ever since we lost it again, it's struggling to get back above it. So if we do bounce above the 55 here, then I am going to look, and I'm going to look for a retest of this prior high here at around 142 to 145. So let's set up a resistance target line here at around 143 as a retest of this prior high here. And again, this could be a double top there, and then find our way back down, right? But overall, it looks like it's trading in this sort of wedge formation here. Oh, not what I wanted to do. Let's actually get rid of that one. Sort of an ascending wedge, if you will. Right, sort of right there. Can you guys see that? Hopefully you can. Let's actually hide this one here. But here's sort of our formation. Here's what I'm looking at right here, this wedge. I mean, this is more of the macro trend on the daily. Again, it's going to have to break down from the 200 EMA to retest the bottom of this this wedge formation here, this green line. This would be a double bottom here potentially, and at around 70, 73 to 75 cents, as we said on the 4 hours. So these areas do match up. So definitely, could definitely act as a lot of buying, like it did here. A lot of buying support here at $72, $73, $75. Those were major areas of support and a lot of buying pressure. I mean, look at that. Let's just put a measurement on it. Wick to wick, 45%. Yeah, 45% move. Gosh, not bad. So if you bought it at 75, I personally didn't, but I know some people who did bought at $75, right around here, and rode this up all the way back to $104, $105. I mean, 45%, not a bad move at all. Not a bad move at all. So again, we could come back and retest the 75, mid 70s area. A lot of buying pressure is going to come in right there. And then again, hopefully this time by that time we can fill the gap on Bitcoin CMEs and just move on to greater, bigger things. Litecoin is not going to be the exception. In fact, Litecoin might be one of the motivators for this move as well. So definitely looking forward to that. So I am going to leave it. No, actually, I am going to look at one last crypto here. And the reason I want to look at this is because this is the sort of thing that can definitely play into a cryptocurrency's chart, right? I'm not a big fan of saying or attributing any sort of move in the market to any sort of news or FUD that goes out in the news. But however, in this case, we do have the tragic, in my opinion, tragic news. Justin Sun canceling the luncheon with Mr. Warren Buffett, and definitely just putting a huge black dot in the map of crypto. In my opinion, again, who would have thought that this guy, given the chance, given the opportunity to, I mean, not that this industry needs and is desperate for Warren Buffett's opinion or Warren Buffett's approval, but I mean, talk about a missed opportunity there. Warren Buffett never has had any positive things to say about crypto. Do you think he's going to say anything positive about crypto now? And he also is dragging along, all these comrades from the crypto sphere, like Charlie Lee and a few others that also accepted the invite. And you kind of wonder, CZ was invited to this luncheon and he pretty much right away declined the invitation. It makes me wonder, did he know something? Is he familiar with Justin Sun and his sporadic attitude and just the way he carries himself and just maybe some of the things he's done in the past? He probably saw this coming and said, no way, I'm not going to be part of that. I'm not going to burn my candle with this idiot. And it's just a very, very unfortunate event. And you can see here, the effect that it's had. I think news broke out beginning of the week on the 22nd, and I mean, look at that. Look at that. Actually, let's put a measurement move from wick to wick. The low came in right around now 26% to the downside ever since the news broke out that he would not be attending and postponing the luncheon with Warren Buffett. Just a very tragic, in my opinion, lost opportunity there with Justin Sun. If I were to decide who would go to that luncheon, last individual that I would probably pick, or among the last individuals, would have been Justin Sun. And I was hoping that he would get this right, and was hoping that he would do the right thing, show up, and he did put together a good list of people to join him in that. And things were looking pretty good, but then you just can never trust a guy like that. So very disappointed in overall what happened, and I do see it reflected here on the charts. This is again the sort of thing that will have an effect on your token. So if you are holding Tron, I just I can't say sorry enough for those of you who are holding it, because this is nothing that you did wrong. This is something that unfortunately happens when you have a pseudo. Maybe I'm just being a little harsh, but when you have a pseudo cryptocurrency and there's levels of centralization, this is the sort of thing that you can expect, because again, you're putting the future of that project in someone's hands, an actual human, as opposed to where we're a project that is completely decentralized, such as Bitcoin, such as Litecoin, Monero, Dash, these other projects, these where there isn't a central figure. I mean, there's like a lead developer, but there's not a central figure or a CEO or president or anybody like that could commit such fuckery with your project, right? So that's why I say, even with the top 10, sometimes you encounter things like this, right? So I'll leave it at that. I do think, Tron is going to find some support around 0.02 cents, 0.02098, as this is the prior low. I do think we're going to find support here if we do come back and retest it. But it looks like it's already being picked up. It looks like it's already had plenty of support here, as we do see here in the more macro side of things. We do see several tests of this current price at 0.022 cents. We do see here that there's been plenty of support in the past, and it's also again acting as support here. So we could potentially see a big bounce from here, actually, kind of like we did see here before the news broke out. Right here, this bounce was again another 45%, kind of like Litecoin. 45% move. I do think we could see a potential bounce here. This could be a good point of entry here for you. Not financial advice, because again, I don't want to say something like that, especially on Tron, because it is now dependent on what happens next. So if Justin Sun, has another, if we confirm that he is having some sort of issues with customs and border, their Chinese version of border patrol, then this could potentially see lower lows even past the 0.2082 range, and come back and retest maybe a prior low down here at 1.26, 1.25, 1.25 cents. So again, that's what you have when you have a central figure in cryptocurrency. All right, so good luck if you're in Tron. Again, this could potentially be just if you do decide to enter, be careful, do watch out. I wouldn't enter a trade right now myself, although it's looking pretty darn enticing. Again, I do want to hold off to see what happens. I do want to wait for resolution on that whole situation. All right, so let's finish it up with some news. Um, Definitely found this to be very interesting, given the fact that Mr. Mnuchen, Stephen Mnuchin, has come out and established himself in the public eye as Bitcoin's biggest foes. He has come out and said that the future of Bitcoin is looking pretty bleak. He also came out on Squawk. If you are not following that, you can follow it on Twitter. Squawk is one of the CNBC's financial segments, and Squawk happens to be now one of the biggest, most influential, out of nowhere influencers for cryptocurrency and Bitcoin especially. And he's had a couple of interviews with Mr. Mnuchin, the proposed Secretary of Finance by Mr. Trump himself, and he's come out and said really negative things about his outlook on Bitcoin. But here, let's actually read this, and I'll leave the link to this article here for the New Yorker. But let's go ahead and read this couple of paragraphs here. If confirmed, Stephen Mnuchin, the nominee for Donald Trump's Treasury Secretary, will have a portfolio that touches on many critical issues, including tax policy, financial regulation, international trade, and the myriad conflicts posed by the next president's opaque business dealings. Also on the list is the matter of whether extremely wealthy investors will have the ability to avail themselves of offshore tax shelters in the future. That last responsibility became a central line of questioning at Mnuchin's confirmation hearing on Thursday, after it was revealed on the eve of his appearance that Mnuchin, a hedge fund manager, had failed to disclose to Congress his role as a director of an investment fund in an offshore tax haven. Interesting. After a friendly introduction from Senator Orrin Hatch of Utah, Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon, the highest ranking Democrat on the Finance Committee, began to speak. He started by criticizing the truly disgusting inequity and abuse of America's tax laws in general, before turning to Mnuchin's situation in particular. There is no clearer example than Mr. Mnuchin's hedge fund setting up outposts in Anguilla and the Cayman Islands, an action that can be explained only by the island's 0% tax rate, Wyden said. He then suggested that millions of dollars in profits from Mnuchin's various business ventures had been funneled into an offshore web. So here we have one of the, again, self-proclaimed biggest foes for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency land. But he's gone out and said that they're just the craziest of things. He's gone out and said that there is no crime, there is no fraud being committed with the U.S. dollar, and that all the billions of dollars that are being transmitted through Bitcoin are fraudulent and nefarious activity by criminals, right? Squawk has confronted him and said, "Hey, look, we know of several, countless of instances where the U.S. dollar has been the mode of transportation, if you will, for these criminal activities. We have the case of Danske Bank from Eastern Europe funneling $250 billion through Danske Bank in Estonia, and that money actually ending up in the hands of Mr. J.P. Morgan himself here in the United States. But Mnuchin has definitely said that no nefarious activity is being, or the dollar is not being used for any nefarious criminal activity, which couldn't be, again, further from the truth, and just blaming Bitcoin for all the money laundering scandals and whatnot. So Very conflicting information, very hypocritical statements from the part of Mr. Mnuchen. So I will leave this article for you guys to enjoy on your leisure down in the description. And we'll leave it at that for today. It's been good to be back and provide you guys with another update in the crypto sphere. Let me know if you guys want me to cover something else, another coin. And also hoping that you got something of value in return for your time, as it is very valuable. So I'll see you guys on the next time. Do hit the like button if you did like this video, and share it with your friends and family. I'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks so much. Your boy, the Real Shot 256, signing out.